YouTube channel. Our subject matter today is air quality, air quality monitor. And one of the tours I'm going to put together for Black History Month is going to be the Community Agreement Tour. That's what I call it. Community Agreement Tour because of the community agreement with Stellantis in the city of Detroit. We have concern about air quality now. And we know with restrictions that used to keep air quality in check, a lot of them probably going to go away over the next 4 years. So we know there's going to be a concern in a problem area, especially with people that lives around the area of the plant. I'm not going to call these people a name out, but they know who they are, their neighbors in that area. So decided to create a tour that highlights the fact that good and bad from the community agreement. And that's what it's going to highlight. We're going to start on Canfield and the May Street, where now you have an air quality monitor. It was not there before the plant was built. It came there after the plant was built because the plant was built. The plant's not built there, the air quality monitor would not be needed. But because the plant was built there, there is on the other side of Beneteau. It's on where St. Jean Street used to be at. Not too far from there, but within eyesight of the street, side street called Beneteau. It's very much in eyesight. And the biggest problem about the pollution coming from the plant is the paint department. All the rest of the manufacturing, a lot of it's done overseas. They do the assembly, but you got to paint the car in house, in the plant itself. And they're still doing the old-fashioned way of doing it, which is spraying it with air compressor to spray paint the car. There's another technique you can use. You can dip the vehicle in the paint, and that's the dip technique. Some manufacturers are using that dip technique. That's what the word is out there. But it has more than one way of doing this. But I guess this is a way that might be cheaper for them to spray than dip. It's the only reason I think that everybody's not dipping. If it was such a good technology, people would have got away with spraying. Got away from spraying. The spraying's been around a long time. If you got new technology, you should be able to gravitate to that. It should be your first choice. But I guess it's cheaper still to spray a vehicle than it is to dip it in the paint. You know. So I guess it's less waste. I don't know. Have not checked that out. That's the only reason I can think from painting a house. If you use a brush to paint it with, you dip it into the paint can or bucket. If you use a roller, then you pour it out and then you roll it on. A roller is supposed to be able to stretch it out more than a brush. So you get more bang for your buck when you're rolling. You cover more territory when you roll versus when you're painting because you're constantly dipping. With a roller, you're not dipping that much. You got a pan that you're rolling out of. And the roller is round where a brush is not round. So there's two different techniques of painting. It comes out with two different results. So there's two different techniques to paint the vehicle too. And then with the dip, you got less pollution in the air because you're not using that air compressor to spray it on there, which that makes it real thin. So that way you got your material flying in the air, lifting up out the air, the particles, and lifting off the paint. So you can't see it, it's in the air because it's sprayed because it's pushed by air. Compressor, that's what makes that paint spray on there. Why they call it spray painting. You got a compressor that pushes that paint out. The air compressor does. Also allows the paint to get airborne too. So all of it's not going to hit your target space or part, which is the vehicle. But the dip technique got to be different than that of the paint. And if it works so good, I don't know why people don't go to it unless you get more manufacturing, more bang out your butt by just spraying versus dipping. The only reason I can think that you would want to go to it. But anyway, that's the problem area with the plant. It's the paint department. That's what helps to pollute the environment. That's the one that has no control. You gotta have controls over that. You can only control it so much. You don't have no control. You do have some control. They do have some filters you use to lessen the impact, but it doesn't stop the impact. So it's still gonna get out the plant and in the air and become airborne. So the particles are so small that it basically easily become airborne. Because I have rode my bike past the Jefferson Assembly plant on Jefferson and smelled the paint fumes from the paint department. I've been on Connors waiting at the Salvation Army to get in. We had to line up to get in for food bank on Mondays, and I used to do it on Mondays. And you can sometimes smell the odors from the paint plant traveling in the air. So they do sometimes stay airborne, and they don't always lift up. And we was on the ground smelling this. So it all depends what direction the wind is blowing. So I'm quite sure the people living on Bendigo, they got to smell it too. They're a lot closer to the plant than I would, not knowing where the paint department is at on Jefferson. But at least I got a whole major street to cross over. Well, they don't have that. They just have an alley that separates them. That's not much of a space. It's residents have been told to have that separation. Now, years ago, they knocked down the housing along Connors. And my sister was part of that buyout. That was way back in the early 70s. They did that buyout for that reason because of the paint department. And in the 70s, Jimmy Carter was in office, and that made a difference too. The president in office makes a big difference. So Jimmy Carter's in office, the EPA got a lot more power, and then all of a sudden this happens. They do a buyout, and they turn that area from being residential to all commercial. They had some residential in there, commercial in there, but now it's all commercial. So nobody lives there. You're not, when you got commercial, you're not there 24/7. You live there, you there 24/7. That's the difference between commercial and residential as far as breathing in them odors from the paint plant. Painting the vehicles. We call out just what they're doing, painting the vehicles. Then the second time around, they do a buyout on St. Jean. It's a commercial buyout. It's a commercial strip. It's a commercial street. Do a buyout just around where the plant's at. Moore Avenue on up to Kirchberg Avenue. Put a berm up. There's some vegetation up that support, trees up that support cleaning the air. And now that's their second time around doing that. Now this time around they don't do a buyout. They get that plan in there because they had that great sense of urgency of getting it done. And there's so much competition to go somewhere else. They give everybody that great sense of urgency. So then we bum rush it and get it done. They get it built. They say they're going to hire a lot of people in. But if they do, and then some people say they don't because these people compete against other people from other plants. So you're not guaranteed to be at that facility because of the union contract. You have to go somewhere else. Did they hire some people in out the neighborhood? And then they fast forward now, after the strike, and after they fired the CEO, a lot of people didn't come back. And they talking about they got to downsize so they can right size for their production. They don't want to have too many people there so they can overproduce because they have to produce just enough. So they will not have a whole lot of inventory. That's the theory behind downsizing. Or that's the story behind downsizing. Whether it's the truth or not, we don't know. At least I don't know. I'm not in a position to know. But that's what we've been hearing there for all the time. I had people working in the factory way back when I first started working in the mid-70s. By the 80s, they was in the factories. And they had to get buyouts because of the recession hit. Recession was a game changer. So that's what happened with this here. So now we're in the community agreement. The agreement has it that a wall gets to be painted. There's a retaining wall up, which is a security wall. The security wall is up, not a retaining wall, but it's a security wall. It's high enough that you can't just climb over it. It's got barbed wire around it, so you just can't climb in. There for security purposes. But it's around where the manufacturer plant is built in. So somebody came up with a good idea. They had that into the community agreement that they would have painted, get a wall painted for the benefit of the community, the benefit of the area. And this is not a very hard-hit area, but not fully occupied like it was when it was built in the 20s when the immigrants from Europe came here to work in the automobile industry. Not occupied like it used to be, but it still got occupants in it, and they still breathing in them chemicals. So also with it, they added a retention pond. So they're very good at their stormwater management practices with Stellantis, which was Chrysler at first, then Daimler Chrysler, then Fiat Chrysler, now Stellantis. So I saw the business had two buyouts before. This one is being the third buyout, but this time it's not associated with the Chrysler name. It was Daimler Chrysler and then Fiat Chrysler. They don't have the association with the Chrysler name. And so the two did. Matter of fact, they took some of the signs down. They had that Chrysler logo up there. That looked like 5 stars. They took that logo down. They said 5 of us and 3. Anyway, whatever the logo is. They took it down. They picked brand new signs up. So that cost about money. Those are some big signs. They were trucking in by, I seen one trucking in off a corner, tractor trailer. So now you see the signs that just says Stellantis, but you got the same color and the same design as the old sign. They had Chrysler on it. Now they really separate themselves from Chrysler and marketing themselves as a single automobile owned company. So it's named by this name is Stellantis. So now we got that as part of the community agreement. We got the wall. That's the security wall. It got painted to about 2 years, two or more years. It's done by black artists. So we got black representation on that through the city of Detroit. They didn't want to hire the person. As well as a retaining pond that's open to the public. The other retaining pond they had is not open to the public. It's been there for a long time. And it's not open to the public. It's fenced off. This one is not fenced off. You can walk around. It's fenced off. That you can't go down where the pond area is at. That's fenced off. But as far as you seeing the pond, it's more visible. It's easy accessible because they got a walkway going around it. And it's educational with all the benefits of having a retention pond. A retention pond, that's what it is. It's down low too. It's very down, I don't know, so many feet down, but it's down low. So you got a lot of educational features going around it that you can get educated with the science part of it, as well as the stormwater management part. Backstory with the community agreement, at one time they was bragging about how much water they saved the combined water system with their stormwater management practices at Chrysler, Daimler Chrysler, Fiat Chrysler, before Stellantis. This was their bragging right. And they had a person that was in charge of it, like a department, just to maintain it, because you got to be able to maintain these stormwater management projects or installations that do not maintain themselves, because it's not made by nature, it's made by us human beings. So they was bragging about it, but they don't brag about it, but with us no more, because they only talk about it. That was their selling point to get us to buy into that idea of having a manufacturer here. So they came out with all the guns. It's a black representative named Ron. He worked for the company. I guess he's their PR man. And he represented Daimler Chrysler, but Fiat Chrysler at the time. And then now he represents them as Stellantis. So the last one standing was Fiat Chrysler as far as the merge. Now Stellantis is the third one to do that. So he represented them with the community. He was a community person that was designated to see the community agreement through. as far as community involvement, which that was a joke, but it sure sounded good on paper. But in reality, they already had things planned out. In reality, they already had things planned out. They being the city of Detroit, they had always had things planned out for the community. And Solange just took the deal. You can't blame Solanges. They took the deal. If you don't blame anybody, you got to blame the city of Detroit for making that deal. It's a bad deal because you polluted the environment with residents right next to a plant, and you already had it. Before then, you had burns up in St. Jean to stop that from occurring with the paint department being up there on Jefferson, the Jefferson Assembly. Now you got a second assembly plant on St. Jean, and it's polluting the environment. So you got two smokestacks that's polluting the environment. One up on Jefferson, as well as the one down here on St. Jean. We call it the MAC plant. So I guess that's their main interest, but it runs from MAC all the way down to St. Jean. So that's what we got out the deal. That's how this came about. That's how the artwork occurred as part of the community agreement to beautify the neighborhood. I remember I was seeing them out there doing some artwork one day during the summer because it was a food bank over there before they knocked down this elementary school. Once they knocked down the elementary school, that person is a female person that runs a food bank. She had to move operations to a different location. But I went through there and had my own mind, so I'm riding my bike and travel, so I'm cutting on up to the front with the walk-ins. So I stopped and seen them painting the mirror on the wall. I asked them, where you get all this input from? They're supposed to have community input, but they got it from the high school students at Southeastern. What they didn't include in there was a very popular lounge that the workers at this plant used to use, which was named Black Bottom. So I was telling them about how long Black Bottom was here, and they got knocked out of business because they got bought out. They could put the berm there. And he said, yeah, we are keeping everything under consideration. So when they finished painting the wall, I saw no Black Bottom. So I don't know. To me, if you want community input, you can't get it from high school students that just, coming into their adulthood. You got to get somebody that's been around. So it's interesting the choices that was made on that wall. I don't think it was that much community driven. But they got different choices on that wall. So that wall is another subject in itself. We're going to stay focused here with air quality, air monitors. Because that plant there, the second piece of artwork comes along in the neighborhood. And that's on the camp field in the main side of the plant. So it's not too far from the plant. You can see the plant in sight. So if you look down towards the Benetton, you'll see the plant because it's that tall. And it's there for the purpose of air quality monitors right across the street from the school. Just like that retention pond is right across the street from a school. You got two schools in this area. And both of them, sometimes I see people coming out there from the classroom and they checking out that outdoor classroom, I call it. Outdoor classroom. They got a pavilion there. And they got some benches there you can sit on. When I was walking around there and taking pictures, somebody broke a whole lot of glass. So they had totally disregard for somebody else using it. I don't know what the term is of breaking glass is. But there's something about finishing, drinking, whatever you're drinking, and breaking the glass still turn people on. So this was like a liquor bottle. So these are grown-ups doing this stuff. So anyway, that's what happened with that. But I almost had a flat tire messing around with that. I looked down and tried to look up. And I went over a glass, but good thing I wasn't on the bike. I was just walking the bike. It didn't pop no tire. So I parked the bike and walked around it and took pictures so I could check it out. And put it out there on my tour, in my tour builder for pocket sites. So that's where the second one comes in at Canfield. And in May, because right across the street from the school, because of the community agreement. Because the plant was allowed to be built there. And they also allowed to set out so much pollution from painting cars. And the rates are up higher than it was when they first begun. And they probably can even go higher now, especially if the EPA get dismantled. The way Reagan did it back in the 80s with the EPA, because he didn't want no regulations. He figured less regulations, more production. More production, more money. That's the thought process. Well, when he did it, he defunded them, which pretty much shut them down. And we'll see what this other president does, what this new president does with this, because it's the second time around for him. So that's why that is there. It's there for that reason. But this was done not out of community agreement money, but from nonprofit money, foundation money, which is I call guilt money, from the foundation money. And that's how that happened. So it took about a year to put it together, and it's supposed to tell you in real time by lights coming on and off, different colors, the quality of the air. So you won't have to try to get it off some app to figure out what the air quality is. At that time, you just gotta know how to read the colors of the lights, like a stop sign. They'll light up another different colors as the air quality changes. So that's the trick on that. It seems to be run by solar power, so it's very environmentally friendly. And that's my next tour up. That'll be probably my third tour of the week, and for the month of September, celebrating Black History Month. And you had two black artists. They did the work. One on the wall, then the other one with the structure that he built in the shape of crown, like crowns you put on a person's head. But this is African structured crowns that he did. So I had a chance to see him. I was there for the grand opening. I had a chance to see him. He talked about it. He was interviewed. He talked about his inspiration and all like that. And we know now why he chose that particular design. He reflect the neighborhood being African American. So, and I'm all for that. Especially when we know that neighborhood did not start off being African American, by being European. And mostly a Germans was over here in that neighborhood. So they was the dominant European group. So that's the plan for about the third week of this month in February. I'm going to do a tour, but I'm going to be live on not Facebook, but live on YouTube with it. So it's not on YouTube not yet. The vehicle that went by has not picked up all the work that has been done. So a lot of times I was using that Google Map to showcase what's happening. This time I'm going to have to showcase it myself by riding my bike through there and going live on YouTube to showcase it. So that's what's coming up. So until then, that's the best story for that one. And we're going to shut it down from here. Say saw. And we will see each other later.